My guest today on Dan's Talk is Mike Daly, who is the founder of East End YIMBY. For those who know what that is, I have to say that this was inevitable. And for those who don't know about this, I will say that it is the opposite of not in my backyard. I think some of us have had feelings that it's about time this happened, I guess. And so let me ask you, Mike, how did you come to form this organization?
Well, Dan, thanks for having me. It's an honor to be here with you. I've been reading Dan's papers since I was a child, and we've common friends, and it's just great to be here with you. I've been a real estate agent in this market since 1998, so that's coming on 24 years of experience, and in a lot of ways, people view real estate agents really as a big part of the problem. They blame, oh, you real estates, you know what I mean? You drive up the prices of everything, and so while, yeah, I've participated in this market and I make my living from it, but I also have been witnessing what's been happening to local people in this market from the very beginning. And early on, I thought that it was almost a contradiction when I wanted to start to find out more about affordable housing. And I talked to people, and a lot of people react to it like, oh, affordable housing. They think that's what we see when we drive over the Throgs Neck Bridge or the Whitestone Bridge, And in 2017, I just said, I've got to participate in doing something about this, pricing out local people, pricing out workers who our businesses count on, right? And I attended an affordable housing training program put on by a group in Cape Cod. And it just set off a light bulb. And the light bulb that set off was that education around the true components of what affordable community housing is really makes a lot of sense. And so I started East End YIMBY in 2017, which seems like almost a lifetime ago. And we've been educating and talking about this issue in front of town boards and village boards and community groups and CACs and chambers of commerces since then, but it has really taken a huge turn with people getting involved in it just in the last year or so.
Well, and one thing that occurred to me about it was people who follow NIMBY say, well, great, we'll have it in his backyard. And which I guess is just the hell with it. That's something.
Yeah.
Well, can you give me any examples of particular things that have caught your eye that you've become involved in regarding this, and how you've negotiated it?
Sure. I'll answer the first part of your comment there about people saying, yeah, put it in his backyard or put it in someone else's backyard. And two things about that is I live in North Haven, and it's because it's where I found a house that I could afford in 2004. Okay. And I couldn't afford it today if I was in the market to buy it. And recently I went to the North Haven trustees meeting, and I explained and advocated for the adoption of accessory dwelling units in the village. And this is one of the last places that people would think that anyone would want to do anything around affordable housing. One of the last places. There's many last places here. And the other part of your comment was, yeah, I mean, there are a lot of nice people who are NIMBYs, because there's a lot of nice people who believe that, oh yeah, affordable housing is good. And if I support affordable housing and we really need it for our workers, just don't put it here, right? Just put it over there somewhere. And it's a very, very strong and kind of embedded concept that a lot of people aspire to, because they're intimidated by their perceptions or what is in their mind about affordable housing. So our biggest success over the last 2 years has been to educate people around the truths. Okay, I have what I call the 8 myths of affordable housing. And we have some seminars on it, and we educate people around it. And I'm delivering it actually in Southold next week. Delivered it in Mattituck, I've delivered it in Southampton, East Hampton, Sag Harbor. And once people get educated as to what the truths are around the myths, for instance, affordable housing looks cheap and undesirable. Well, fact of the matter is that builders of affordable community housing have to comply with the same building codes that builders of single family housing do. Another one is that affordable housing hurts schools. Well, as a matter of fact, it's the opposite, because schools and school children do better when they are consistently in a school and they're able to develop relationships and with teachers and other members of the school and of the community. And they do better in their schools, and it helps raise school scores. Another one, and I'm not going to go through all 8 unless you invite me to, but the last one I'll mention right now is affordable housing causes traffic. Well, right now we have so much traffic from the trade parade. Our research indicates that having community housing in our business districts spread out throughout the East End. Okay, this is not about dumping big buildings in any one community, but about spreading out smaller, more appropriate sized affordable housing units, from small accessory apartments all the way up to some medium-sized apartments complexes, will actually help traffic and take people off the road, because they'll be able to live closer to where they work, right? So people have all these myths in their mind. It's like an old wives' tale. It's like, oh, don't touch that or you're going to go blind, And
don't go in the water a half an hour after you eat.
That's right. Or you're going to have the bends or something, right? And a lot of the myths around community housing are like old wives' tales, or experiences that, like I said, driving over the Whitestone Bridge, you know what I mean? It's like you look at those large complexes, and that's what we have come to believe affordable housing is. And out here on the East End, that's not. I mean, you see some of the really beautiful community housing developments that have been done by East Hampton, and even in Southampton, Sandy Hollow Estates. On Sandy Hollow Road, people are still driving around looking for the affordable housing that they're passing that looks just as nice as the if not even nicer than some of the neighboring homes. The development that was done in Speonk that people fought over for 7 years, for God's sakes, has been a wonderful contributing development to the community.
Have you I'm sure you have become aware of this vote that's going to take place in November about it? That's going to be huge.
That's actually that's aside. So what we're doing right now is we're meeting and educating people. We have East End YIMBY meetings where anybody can come, and we can talk about myths. We can talk about strategies. We do discussions about what is secret. What is the State Environmental Quality Review Act, and how does that play a role in developments? Also, how can it be used as a weapon to stop development? Because we are so sensitive about our environment, because we have a sensitive environment, and we live here too. We don't want to do anything that's going to have a negative impact on the environment. But right now, not having enough community housing is having a negative impact on our communities. So what's coming up, as you referred to, is the Peconic Bay Community Housing Fund. And I know you wrote a piece about that recently, and that was, I'm glad that you did, because people need to be educated on that. And we just had a session with Assemblyman Thiel on that. We are in the process of forming a coalition to help of basically leaders from different organizations, community organizations, environmental organizations, churches, civic groups, all to come together to support this referendum that we're hoping is going to happen in all 5 East End towns this November. And that is to adjust the Peconic Bay Community Preservation Fund to include another 0.5% when a home is purchased on the East End, and 0.5% of the 2.5% will go to the towns to use for housing in their housing funds.
For those that don't know, that's the referendum coming up in November.
That's the referendum, right?
If it goes through, there'll be tens of millions of dollars available to build affordable housing projects. At the moment, it seems like it's a drop in the bucket compared to what's needed. There's one in particular law on the books in East Hampton that I find extraordinary that's still there. About 20 years ago, it came in that artists who had studios on their property weren't allowed to have kitchens in the studios because they were afraid that they would be breaking the rule of one family house on one piece of property. And
one kitchen.
They had a kitchen would mean you're going to rent it. And they actually sent out inspectors to look at particular artists, and they asked them what their shows are going to be, and they asked them about
yes.
It's the most intrusive thing I'd ever thing, and it's still there, still on the books. It has to be removed.
It is. It is.
His town supervisor Von Skoy is getting very active in promoting.
Yes.
And I hope he sees this particular thing because it's unique. Here we were, a community that was celebrating a time when the East End was the center of the art world in the world with the abstract expressionist movement, and they're harassing people who have things on their properties. How do people find out about when the meetings are? Do you promote them and advertise them, or?
Well, we have a website which is www, like they all are, .eastendyimby.org. We also have a Facebook page. And anyone who wants to be alerted as to when our meetings are and when their gatherings are, they can connect to us through either Facebook or through our website to let us know, and we'll put you on our mailing list. I wanted to respond to something you were talking about, artist studios in East Hampton. It seems like, we go through such great pains to preclude the ability for people to create rental apartments because we think that's bad. And it's not bad. And as a real estate agent for 23 years, I have got to tell you, at least 10% of the homes that I've sold and closed on had to disassemble some form of unpermitted living space
Right.
that they created either out of need for their children or need for their parents or need because they wanted to make some additional money to help cover their expenses, right? So there is such a, what I call a shadow inventory of unpermitted, I don't want to use the term illegal because that's a judgment term, right? Of unpermitted accessory dwelling apartments in our towns. It shows the demand for them and the need for them. And, you know, Dan, you and I are you know, in that generation where when we were, you know, remember the Hamptons of the 70s with the group homes and the cigars, you know, on the top of the windshields of all those Rolls-Royce convertibles, right? I was in West Hampton Beach, and Mickey Paraskevas is a friend of mine, and you know, those good old days of group homes and having fun. And then as we got older, we decided it was like, oh my God, you know, we can't let anybody else have as much fun as we did. So we've got to outlaw group homes. We've got to close all the clubs. We've got to, you know, we've got to make life, because we knew how to do it, right?
All right. No. Bordy Barn just closed. I don't know.
I know. Bordy Barn just got sold. Yeah, I know.
Where are you from originally? Where were you born and raised and stuff?
I was born in Brooklyn, raised in Queens, and my old Irish grandmother, Lizzie McNamara, was a genius, and we had me and my cousins. There were 7 of us with our parents, and she bought a farmhouse from the Rattiner family in West Hampton Beach, and not West Hampton Beach, in West Hampton by Beaver Dam Creek in 1960. Okay,
Probably
and
$1,000.
Yeah, for like $7,000 or something, right. You know, and now it's worth $1 million, of course. But I was the luckiest kid in Elmhurst, New York, because I was the only one in my class. I went to parochial school there, who left the day school ended. My mom was waiting for me, parking by the fire hydrant, so that I didn't even get to go to the apartment. I just came home from school, jumped in the car, and we came out to, we called it the country in those days. We came out to West Hampton. And we were there, and we grew up, me and my 6 cousins, my sister and my 6 cousins. And then, so we were very, very lucky to be here in those days. And then I moved out here permanently in 1995 with my family. And I've been here, bought a house in Remsenburg to be near mom and dad, and then came out to Sag Harbor in 1998.
Wow, that's a good story.
I have a good story for you. I think Bella Abzug was at the Elaine Benson Gallery, and I think you were doing an event there. And somebody called me and said, Michael, I was like 17 years old or 18 years old. And somebody called me and said, Michael, this woman that we know needs a ride back to New York City. Are you available? She'll pay you $50. And I said, oh, I'm on it. And I picked up Bella and had one of the times of my life driving her back to New York City from leaving a party at the Elaine Benson Gallery that I think you were sponsoring as well. So those are, you know, we had such good times. And today it seems like everything is so intense and so serious. And our heritage industries of fishing and farming and the arts and tourism are in such struggle because we're just not allowing our communities to create enough space for them. We have people, you know, how many friends do you have and do I have who've left the area because they feel like there's no place here for them?
Yeah.
It's sad to watch our local heritage kind of dissipate because somebody like myself, if I decided I wanted to sell my house and move into an apartment, there are no apartments. That was one of my dreams, to buy this house and to move into an apartment in Sag Harbor when I retired, perhaps, and I didn't want to have managed the home and the property. There's no place for us to go.
We all wish that we were going to create a world-class resort, and we just did.
We did. The Disneyfication, and you've joked over the years that they're going to put a toll booth in at the Shinnecock Canal, right?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's becoming like a big Disneyland where all the employees drive in the morning, work in the park during the day, and then they all drive home at night, right?
Well,
except for the security guards.
And I think there are they're talking about a lot of ways of helping out. And I was thinking about this because I just read yesterday that I don't know what President Biden is doing exactly, but it has something to do with putting a lot of money in there to help people pay their mortgages, which are high, not mortgages, they're rents.
Rents. Yeah.
The rents are so high because the properties cost so much when the developers buy them. And at the same time here, we're talking about doing a similar thing where I read where the local authorities are looking at something where they would partner with local people to buy a property and keep the equity as part of the town. And
shared equity.
A lot of good ideas coming up. I hope it passes. I hope that you have great success with YIMBY.
This referendum really is important, Dan. And I'll tell you that there is no one solution to our housing issues. It's not like build skyscrapers all over the place. That's not going to happen. A, we don't want it. B, but we feel that every village and every hamlet, that there's 5 East End towns plus the Shinnecock Reservation. There's 13 villages, I think, is it 30? Yeah. And there's 43 hamlets on the East End and the 5 East End towns.
Yeah.
And every village and hamlet needs to play some kind of role,
yes.
Whether it's having some additional accessory dwelling units, or whether it's building some 2-family houses or some 3-family houses, some small apartment complexes. Wherever it's appropriate, there should be some larger. There should be some 40, 50, 60. Even there's a proposed 104 unit a community housing development in Quiog right now on a large piece of property behind Strebel's Laundry and Car Wash. That's between Montauk Highway and the airport. And it's a perfect place for that type of development. So we need all different types because we love it here. We don't want to hurt the environment. We want to do it in a sound way with nice building. But it needs to be spread out so that everybody takes a role in helping solve this issue.
When is the next time you're having a meeting that the public is invited to?
I'm going to send you an invite to that. We're actually gathering in person tonight in Sag Harbor at the Sag Harbor public hearing. We just had a prep call for that last Saturday. I will announce that on our Facebook page, East End YIMBY. And I'm going to send you an email when the next one comes up so that and you can join us if you'd like, because we'd love to have you. And then we're going to have our first in-person gathering in early June. We're also speaking, you wrote about the church that has the affordable housing event coming up on May 19th. We're speaking at that. We're busy, and I'm still trying to make a living in between all of these things as a real estate guy, because I got to put some food on the table.
Well, thank you for being on the show, and I hope people will go to the site and join up. That's what we all need to do. And
Would love to have you. Would love to have you. Thanks for having me, Dan. It's been a pleasure.
I'm talking to Michael Daly, the founder of YIMBY, Yes in My Backyard, and I want to thank you for being on the show. Bye.
Bye.